So this is Steve Ridgel, and we talked a little bit last time about if God's so good, why is this world such a mess? And I gave you what I believe is the Christian response to that God didn't make this world. This is not the world God intended. This is not how God wanted it to be. God made a perfect world, put Adam and Eve right in the middle of it, and they messed it up, just like we would have. It was a matter of free will, choices, and consequences. They had the free will to do what God asked them to do, not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or to violate what God told them and partake of that tree. And they did. Their choice. And there were consequences to that choice. But the question is, so why did they do that? What made Adam and Eve decide to eat of a tree God told them not to eat of? Well, that's where Satan comes in. Disguised himself as a serpent, a snake, and into the garden he came and had a conversation with them. And basically, Satan had 3 points that he wanted to seduce Eve with, and then through Eve, Adam, and of course, all of us. Here's the way Satan works. First thing Satan did is he came in and said, did God really say that? You know, that's still how Satan approaches us. He looks at you and he says, okay, did God really say there's a certain way to live and a certain way to act and there are things not to do and things to do? And did God really say that? I mean, that Bible you Christians refer to, that's just a collection of stories and fables, and some of it might have been true then and some of it's not true now, and maybe that was from God and maybe that was just men, and so pretty soon you're thinking, well, I don't know, what did God want and what did God say? And maybe it is okay if I live the way I want to and do things differently. And then the second thing Satan did is he just lied. He just lied. He said to Eve, he said, you're not going to die. Wow. Eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, get put out of the garden, you're away from the tree of life. And if you can't eat of the tree of life, what happens? Well, you don't live. I mean, Satan just lies. Oh, don't worry. He tells you that he whispers the same thing in the ears of people in this world today. Don't worry. Live like you want to. You know best. No, it won't be bad. No, you won't get this. No, that won't happen. No, there are no consequences. No, God's not really going to separate you from him. No, God's not. No, God's not. Don't worry, you won't. Satan just lies. And we like it because those lies tell us what we want to hear. Of course, the third thing Satan did is he said, well, you know why God didn't want you to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? You will be like God. Wow. If you weren't tempted enough by you sure God said that? And if you weren't tempted enough by oh, let me tell you what you want to hear, I'll just lie because you'll believe me. Then he comes in with this one. You can be God. Satan still wants us to be God. I know God said there are certain things about how I ought to live and how my relationships ought to be and how I ought to treat people. But really, who wants to serve a God like, I know what's best. I'll decide who I love and what I want to do and how I want to live and how I want to treat people. I'll decide that. I know best. I am my own God. You ever tried to run your own life? If you're like most of us, it didn't work out too well. So what did Satan do? He threw the same temptations at Eve and through her Adam that he throws at us. God, you sure God said that? Don't worry, God didn't mean what he said. He just lies about God. And then he says, you ought to be God. And Adam and Eve fell for it. And that's why this world is a mess. Well, next time we'll talk a little bit about taking responsibility for our choices. This is Steve Ridgel telling you, don't listen to Satan. He is a liar and you are not God.